When you think of Chinese mythology, you probably picture powerful gods and epic battles. But what about the Eight Immortals? You can think of them as China's original divine supergroup, kind of like a godly boy band. And in their lineup, there's one and only one legendary woman, Xiangu. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of this rebel goddess.
This quote, right here, it pretty much says it all, doesn't it? Xiangu wasn't just famous for her divine power. People loved her for her character. She chose filial piety, that deep respect for your parents, over just getting by on her looks. In a world full of gods, she stood out for the very human choices she made. So, what was her most legendary choice?
Well, her most famous choice was a massive act of defiance. We're talking about saying no to the most powerful person in the entire country. It's a story all about rejecting fame and fortune, and it's the one event that truly defines her entire legend.
Okay, so you have to understand, getting a summons from the Empress was a huge deal. And this wasn't just any Empress. This was Wu Zetian, the one and only female emperor in all of Chinese history. An invitation to her court, that meant fame, it meant fortune, it meant unbelievable power. For literally anyone else, this would have been the opportunity of a lifetime.
But Xiangu, she wasn't anyone else. As the Empress's grand procession was making its way to the capital, something absolutely incredible happened. Right there, in front of everybody, Xiangu just vanished. Poof! She didn't run away or hide. No, she ascended directly into the heavens, choosing immortality over imperial power.
And these were supposedly her last words before she disappeared. It's the perfect summary of her entire philosophy. She was making it crystal clear that all that worldly power, it meant nothing to her. She wasn't just rejecting an empress, she was rejecting a whole system of ambition and status.
And that's the real question, isn't it? How did she get that kind of power? She wasn't born a goddess. She was the daughter of a humble tofu maker. So let's rewind and see exactly how this amazing transformation happened.
Alright, so how does a regular mortal girl become a full-fledged goddess? Her journey from an ordinary tofu maker's daughter to a celestial being is honestly one of the most fascinating parts of her entire story.
Before she was the famous Xiangu, her name was Sunu. Her family ran a little tofu shop, totally normal, but her birth was anything but. When 6 golden lights just appeared on the roof of her house, well, that was a pretty clear sign she was destined for something much, much bigger.
Now, her path to power wasn't through years of tough training or learning ancient spells. Nope. It all started with a dream, where a deity told her to eat mica powder, that shimmery, glittery mineral you find in rocks. And believe it or not, it worked. She pretty quickly stopped needing to eat, she could fly through the mountains, and she could even see the future.
So she's got the superpowers. Now, every immortal needs a signature tool, their go-to gadget. And with her new powers, Xiangu got hers. It was an object that became her symbol and her most powerful weapon, the lotus flower.
And this thing was definitely not just for decoration. Her lotus was like the Swiss Army knife of divine tools. It could purify people's minds, it could grow huge to become her own personal flying cloud, and in one legendary battle, it even shot out a massive light shield to hold back tidal waves.
And you just gotta love the style contrast here. While her male teammates were, riding around on donkeys, gourds, and swords, Xiangu was just elegantly floating by on a giant pink lotus. Definitely a style upgrade, for sure.
But there's another, much more mysterious side to her worship. It's a tradition that's still alive today in her temples, and honestly, it might surprise you a little. So in her hometown temples in Guangzhou, there is this very unusual tradition. It involves a creature that, well, a lot of people are pretty scared of.
Yep, that's right, snakes. Legend says that a spirit snake was her guardian while she was gaining her powers. So now, instead of being scared, her followers actually see snakes in her temples as a divine message, a sign that the goddess is right there and she's listening. So far from being a bad omen, seeing one of these spirit snakes is considered incredibly lucky. Finding a shed skin might be seen as a divine medicine. The snake itself symbolizes renewal, like shedding your old skin for a fresh start. And just having them around is seen as proof that the temple has some seriously good spiritual energy.
Okay, so what does all of this mean for us today? How do modern followers connect with her story and her power?
Well, Xiangu is a surprisingly modern figure.
Because she was so famously devoted to her parents, she's prayed to by children who want to honor their own. Career-driven women look to her as this amazing symbol of independence. I mean, she did reject the most powerful woman in the country, and lots of others ask for her help in building healthy, strong relationships.
And hey, if you were to ever visit one of her temples, here's what her followers believe she likes as offerings. It's not about grand sacrifices. It's things that reflect her gentle and graceful nature. Cosmetics, flowers, and sweet foods, which is a nice little nod to her own diet after she stopped eating regular meals.
And this story just perfectly illustrates her unique kind of strength. When the other immortals were all geared up for a massive fight with the Dragon King's army, Xiangu just casually tossed a single lotus petal. It transformed into this giant pink boat that completely mesmerized the enemy soldiers, and it peacefully ended the whole conflict. Her power was in wisdom, not in warfare.
So when you really boil her legend down, these are the key takeaways. She embodies that deep devotion to family, and she represents the profound strength that comes from just letting go of the desire for fame, for wealth, and for status.
And that brings us right back where we started, to her most powerful statement. It's the philosophy that guided her from being a mortal world to a goddess who chose her own way. It reminds us that real power isn't about what you can get, but what you have the wisdom to let go of.
Her symbol, the lotus, grows in the mud but blossoms into something pure and beautiful above the water. It's such a powerful metaphor for integrity, which kind of leaves us with one final question to think about. What symbol represents the values that guide you?